Hello students, welcome to Maktab. I am Ayush and here I am again with you with the next lecture of the series of our number system. I hope you have completed all the previous lectures. If not, I advise you to first complete the previous lectures and then come to this one so that you can understand each and every concept clearly. So without further ado, let's start our next lecture of this series, that is estimation of numbers. In this class, we will learn about the estimation to the nearest tens, tens number, then estimation to the nearest hundred, and then estimation to the nearest thousand. So we will cover these three concepts in this video. First, start with the estimating to the nearest tens by rounding off. Before starting it, let me tell you why there is a need of estimation, how the need of estimation arises. So, for example, if uh, if you go to a movie to watch a movie, right? And if you came home after watching the movie and your parents ask, so how many people were there in the cinema hall? So you'll say there were approximately 150 or 200 people. So these are not exact value 150 or 200. You have just estimated this value. That means when you want to give a rough estimation, then we use this estimating thing. Like there might be 155 people, but we can as a rough estimation say that there were around 150 people. So this is from where the concept of estimation arises, right? So what this concept says is we see that the number 1 2 3 4 are nearer to 0 than to 100. Okay, so we round off 1 2 3 4 as 0. First of all, let me tell you what is rounding off. Rounding off is if I write here 2 4 9, right? So now if I want to give the rough estimate, I'll just round it off to 250. I'll say this is around 250, right? 249 is approximately 240 250, right? So how we convert this, how we just round this off? If it is written here 141, then what will I do? I'll say there are around 240 people. Or if it is written here like 165, what I'll say there were around 150 peoples, or there are around 200 peoples, right? So what we do is when we want to round off the number, if it is written here 12, then we will round it off to 10. If it is written here 19, we'll round it off to 20. Why? Because from 10 to 20, there are 10 numbers in between, like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and so on till 20. So there are 20 numbers. In between, there will be 15 because here we will have four numbers like 11, 12, 13, and 14. Here 16, 17, 18, and 19. That means four number here, four numbers here, and a 15 in middle, right? So if the digit is one among these four, that means 16, 17, 18, 19, then we will round it off to 20. But if the digit if the number is this 14, 13, 12, or 11, then we will round it off to 10. But what about 15? Although 15 is in middle, but we always round it off to 20. So if someone says you just round off the digits, so it is written 11 here, If question wants to round these values to the nearest tens, then how will you round it off? We have to round it off to nearest tens digit. That means 10, 20, 30, 40. These are tens digit, right? Up to 90. So it is written 11 here. We will round it off to 10. If it is 16 here, we will round it off to 20. Similarly, if it is 28, we will round it off to 30, because 28 is nearer to 30 than to 20, right? 20 is far away from 28, but 30 is nearer. So if I write it here 13, still I'll round it off to 10. If I say 14, still 10. If I say 15, I'll round it off to 20 and not 10. This is the special case, because although it is in the middle, it is uh, here it is 10, here it is 20. 15 is equidistant from 10 and 20, but still we will round it off to the next nearest tens. Okay, so I hope it is clear. So this is what is written here. We see that the number 1, 2, 3, 4 are nearer to 0. Yes, as I have explained you. Than to 10. So we round off 1, 2, 3, 4 as 0. We will round 1, 2, 3, 4 as 0, and 6, 7, 8, 9 to the nearer to 10. So we round them off as 10. Number 5, this is the case of number 5. Number 5 is equidistant from both 0 and 10. It is a common practice to round it off to as 100. That means, although it is in between, but we will round it off to the next nearest tenth number. That means 5 will round off to 10, 15 will round off to 20. Similarly, 25 will round off to 30, but 24 will round off to 20. Here I have a table. Here it is written 50. Here it is 60. If someone tells you to round this digit 61 up to the nearest tens, so what will you do? You will round it off to 60. 61 will be round off to 60. Similarly, 58 will also round off to 60. 52 round off to 50. 49 round off to 50. But this 55, as I have told you earlier, tell me, it will round off to it will round off to 60 here, because we just rounded off to the next nearest tens. This is the previous nearest tens. This is the next nearest tens to 55. So we will round it off to 60. Got it? Now I have these digits. I want you guys to round it off. First, 28. Tell me this 28. You will round it off to these numbers should be round off to the nearest tens. So 28 will be round off to 30, right? 30. 30, 32 round off will be round off to 30, because it is nearer to 30. 64. Tell me. Tell me about 64. 64 will be round off to 60, right? 52. 50 nearest. It is nearer to 50, right? 41. 40. What is the case of 48? It will round off to the 50, because it is nearest to 50 and not 40. What about 99? It will round off to 100, because 100 is 10 tens, right? So it will round off to 99, 100. What about 59? It will round off to 60. Got it? Now I want to ask one more question. Here I have a digit 1, 254. Just round it off to the nearest tens digit. How will you proceed? For nearest tens, we will not change this 100. So we'll write 2 here, and now we are left with 54. I want you to round it off to nearest tens digit. So from 54, 50 is nearest and 60 is uh, far than uh, from 54, 50 is nearest, right? So we will round it off to 250. Similarly, if it is written here 367, how will you round it off to nearest tens? We will not change 3 because it is at hundreds place. To change it to the nearest tens place, what we will do? We'll just change it to 70. Got it? Now let's move to this, estimating to the nearest hundreds by rounding off. Previously, what we were doing, we were just looking for tens. That means 15 will be 15 was rounding 15 was rounding off to 20, 13 was rounding off to 10, but now we will talk about 100. That means if a number is written here 130, then we will round it off to 100. And if a number is written here 170, we'll round it off to 200. That means now we will round off to the nearest hundreds and not tens. So numbers from 1 to 49 are closer to 0 than to 100, right? So are rounded off to 0. That means if it is written here 45, we will round it off to 0. But if it is written here 55, we will round it off to 100 because these are in the same series, and in between there will be a 50 here, right? So numbers before 50 will be round off to 0. Numbers after 50 will be round off to 100. And number 50, although it is in middle, it will also round off to 100. Got it? So this is what is written here. Now I want you to round these numbers to the nearest 100. Tell me 987 will be rounded off to, tell me the nearest number. It is 1000. Wait a second. Yeah, it is, it will be round off to 1000. And if it was 947, then what we will do, we will round it off to 900. Got it? Note the difference here, because it is less than 50, so we'll round it off to the previous 100. It is more than 50, we will round it off to the next hundreds. So here the answer is 1000. For 267, 267 is more than 50, so we will round it off to the next 100. That means here it is 267, we will round it off to the 300, the next 100. Here it is 2, so next to 2 is 300. What about 287? Again same case, we'll round it off to 300, right? Now tell me about 312. We will round it off to 300. Why? Because 12 is less than 50, so we'll round it off to the previous 100. What about 351? 351. It is 51 is more than 50, so we'll round it off to the nearest 100, next nearest 100. That means 400, right? What about 749? 749. 49 is smaller than 50, so it will round off to the previous 100. So it will round off to 700. Got it? I hope it is clear. Now I want you guys to answer me this. 1879. I want you guys to round it off to the nearest 100. Focus on my word. I want you guys to round it off to the nearest 100. So for 100, we will not change this 1000 digit, right? We will write 1 as it is, and we will just round it, round these three digits. Like here it is more than 50. 79 is more than 50, so we will round it off to the next nearest 100. That means 1900. Here it is 8, so from 8 to 900. Got it? Another example is this. I want you guys to round it off to the nearest 100 place. So what will you do? You will remain it same because it is at thousands place. 56 is more than 50, so we'll round it off to 400 because here it is 3. Next 400. That means the number will become 2400. Here it became 1900. I hope it is clear to you. Now let's come to the next concept. Now we will be rounding off to the nearest thousand. That means if it is written here 1400 and here it is written 1600, then we will round it off to the 2000 and we will round it off to 1000. Why? Because 1500 is in middle, right? 1600 is more than 500 is more than 600. 600 is more than 500, so we'll round it off to the next nearest thousand digit. And 400 is less than 500, so we will round it off to the nearest previous thousand digit. Got it? That means this 500 here, if it is written here, then we will round it off to the near previous thousand, that is 0, and next 1000. That means 500 is in the middle of 0 and 1000. Any number between between these two numbers, this gap, any number in this gap will round off to the 0, and any number in this gap will round off to 1000. Got it? That means if it is written here 237, I want you guys to round it off to the nearest 1000. So you will just round it off to 0, right? Because it is lesser than 500. If it is written here 971, we will round it off to 1000. Got my point? So it is a simple concept. I want you guys to 5 questions on this concept, and it will not be problematic for you. So here it is 4293. If you want to, it is 4293 is somewhere between 4000 and 5000, right? That means two nearest thousand numbers are 4000 and 5000, but it is 42,093. That means it is nearer to 4000. That means we will convert it to 4000. We will round it off to 4000. Similarly, if it is written 5419, then this 419 is lesser than 500. That means we will round it off to the previous thousand. That means 5000, because it is somewhere here, and here it is 5500 and then 6000, right? So it is somewhere here. This 5419 is somewhere here, must be somewhere here, because it is lesser than 5500, right? So we will round it off to the previous thousand. Similarly, 6899. In this case, if I write it like this, I am writing it just to make you understand. You guys don't need to. You guys do not need to write this again and again. Okay. So here it is 6500, and here it will be 7000. Wait. So this 6899 will be somewhere here because it is more than 6500. So we will round it off to 7000. Got it? Now it is 7500. That means 7000 here, then 7500, then 8000. That means 7500 is in the middle. But I have told you this earlier that although it is in middle, we will round it off to the nearest thousand digit, right? So we will round it off to 8000. Now 6000, here 6500, and here 7000. This is 6499. That means it is just one place before this middle digit. So although it is very near to 6500, still it is lesser than 6500. So we will round it off to 6000 only. Got my point? So I think it is clear to you. Now I want you guys to solve these questions for me. 2971. I want you guys to round it off to nearest tens. Nearest tens. That means for tens, we will not change these numbers. This is 100, this is 1000. So we'll write these number as it is 2900, and then we will convert this number to the nearest tens. That means 71 is nearest to 70. That means we will write it, we will round it off to 70. Now here I have 3, 4, 9, 9. I want you guys to round it off to nearest 100. Yeah, if we want to round it off to the nearest 100, then we will not change this. So it will remain same, 3000 will remain same, and we'll just round it off to the nearest 100. It is nearest to the 500, right? 400 and then 500. So we will write 3500 here. Now one more question. I want you to convert this to the nearest 1000. For nearest 1000, it is 6791. That means it is greater than 6500. That means, so we will round it off to the next nearest 1000. That means 7000. I hope the concept is clear to you now. If not, I want you to rewind the video and watch. If there is any confusion, then try it for yourself and you'll get it for sure. Okay, so that's all from my side for today. I want you guys to revise this concept again so that you will be very comfortable in it. Okay, so in the next lecture we'll learn more concepts related to estimation. Okay, till then, take care of yourselves, study hard,